Hello everyone, welcome to our IGCSE Biology Series. Today we are diving into Chapter 3, Movement in and Out of Cells. This is one of the most fundamental topics in biology because understanding how substances enter and exit the cells is crucial to understanding how all living organisms function. In this video, we will explore three key transport mechanisms: diffusion, osmosis, and active transport. We will also look at how these processes affect plant and animal cells in different ways. So let's get started. First up, let's look at diffusion. Diffusion is defined as the net movement of particles from a region of their higher concentration to a region of their lower concentration, down a concentration gradient, as a result of their random movement. Think of it like this. Imagine spraying perfume in one corner of the room. Eventually, you will smell it across the entire room. That's diffusion in action. Now, where does the energy for diffusion come from? It's important to understand that diffusion is a passive process, meaning it doesn't require any energy from the cell itself. Instead, the energy comes from the kinetic energy of random movement of molecules and ions. This random movement is also called the Brownian motion. Now let's see how diffusion occurs in a cell membrane. The cell membrane is partially permeable, which means it allows some substances to pass through, but not others. Small molecules like oxygen, carbon dioxide, and glucose can diffuse through the membrane, but larger molecules such as starch cannot. A key point to note is that the molecules can flow in different directions, but the net flow is always in one direction until both sides of the cell membrane is balanced. In this GIF, you can see the flow of molecules left and right, but the net flow is always towards the right due to the higher concentration on the left hand side than on the right. Diffusion is absolutely vital for life. Here are some key examples where diffusion is in action in life. Gas exchange in lungs. Oxygen diffuses from the air in the alveoli, where concentration is high, into the blood where the concentration is lower. Carbon dioxide does the opposite, diffusing from blood into the alveoli to be exhaled. Gas exchange in plants. Carbon dioxide diffuses into the leaves through stomata for photosynthesis and oxygen diffuses out. Nutrient absorption. In the small intestine, digested food molecules like glucose and amino acids diffuse from the ileum to the bloodstream. Lastly, the waste removal. In the liver, urea, a waste product, diffuses from liver cells into the blood to be transported to the kidneys. Having talked about diffusion, we need to know what factors affect the rate of diffusion and how these adaptations help in the efficiency of diffusion of substances in and out of cells. There are four key factors affecting how fast diffusion occurs. It is the temperature, concentration gradient, surface area, and distance. Here we will look at temperature and surface area. Higher temperature means particles have more kinetic energy and can move faster, increasing the rate of diffusion. A larger surface area allows more particles to diffuse at the same time, increasing the rate. In this slide, we will look into the concentration gradient and distance, and how these factors affect the rate of diffusion. The greater the difference in the concentration between two regions, the faster the rate of diffusion. The shorter the distance particles need to travel, the faster diffusion occurs. This is why our alveoli are one cell thick. Great work! We have just finished diffusion. Now let's move on to osmosis, which is a special type of diffusion that involves water molecules. Osmosis is defined as the net movement of water molecules from a region of higher water potential to a region of lower water potential through a partially permeable membrane. Before we look at osmosis in cells, let us understand why water is so important. Water acts as a solvent for digestion, excretion, and transport of substances. Water has a high specific heat capacity, helping maintain optimum temperature for enzyme reactions. In plants, water provides support through turgor pressure. Metabolic reactions occur in water. Now let's look at how osmosis occurs in animal cells. Animal cells don't have a cell wall, so osmosis affects them more dramatically. Animal cells, when kept in pure water, the water molecules moves into the cell. The cell swells. Without a cell wall to provide structure, the cell eventually bursts. Animal cells in concentrated solution is when the water moves out of the cell. The cytoplasm shrinks. The cell becomes crenulated. And in isotonic solutions, there is no net movement of water. The cell remains normal. Either way, the process remains the same. In hypotonic solutions, like the pure water, the water molecules moves into the cells. In hypertonic solution, where it is more concentrated and the water potential is lower, the water molecules moves outside the cells. And in isotonic solutions, there is no net movement of water. Now let's look at osmosis in plant cells. Plant cells respond differently to osmosis because they have a cell wall. There are three main scenarios: plant cell in pure water, plant cell in concentrated solution, and plant cell in an isotonic solution. When plant cells are put in pure water, the water molecules move into the cell by osmosis. The vacuole expands. The cell membrane pushes against the rigid cell wall. The cell becomes turgid. Turgor pressure develops. This is the water pressure inside the cell pressing outwards on the cell wall. This is actually beneficial. Turgid cells provide structural support and prevent wilting in plants. Moving on to plant cells in concentrated solution. Here, water molecules move out of the cell by osmosis. The vacuole shrinks. The cell membrane pulls away from the cell wall, and the cell becomes flaccid. If water loss continues, plasmolysis occurs, where the cell membrane completely separates from the cell wall. Lastly, in plant cells kept in isotonic solution, there is no net movement of water. The cell remains normal. The last movement mechanism is the active transport. Sometimes cells need to move substances against the concentration gradient, that is, from low concentration to high concentration. This is where active transport comes in. Active transport is the net movement of molecules or ions across a membrane from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration, using the energy from respiration. And this is key. Active transport uses energy. Think of it like pushing a boulder uphill. It requires energy to go against the natural flow. You might ask, how does active transport actually work? Active transport relies on protein carriers embedded in the cell membrane. Here's how it works. Molecules from the side with lower concentration bind to the carrier protein. The carrier protein uses energy from respiration to change its shape. This change in shape forces the molecule through the membrane to the side with higher concentration. The protein returns to its original shape and the process can repeat. Lastly, let's look at some importance of active transport and its applications. Active transport is essential because diffusion and osmosis can't always get the job done. Here are some key examples. In root hair cells, plants need to absorb mineral ions from the soil. Often, the concentration of these ions is higher inside the root hair cells than in the soil. Active transport allows the plant cells to absorb these ions against the concentration gradient. This is crucial for healthy plant growth. Next is in the small intestine. Glucose and amino acids are absorbed into the blood from the small intestine. Even when nutrient concentration is lower in the intestine than in the blood, active transport ensures all the nutrients are absorbed. This maximizes the nutrient uptake from the food. Third is in the kidney tubules. Glucose is reabsorbed from kidney tubules back into the blood. Active transport ensures glucose isn't lost in urine. We will explore more about this in chapter 13. Lastly, it's the nerve cells. Sodium and potassium ions are actively transported to maintain electrical signals. And that brings us to the end of chapter 3, movement in and out of cells. In this chapter, we explored how essential substances like oxygen, water, and nutrients move in and out of cells through diffusion, osmosis, and active transport, the three key processes that keep every cell alive and functioning. Understanding these movements is crucial because they explain how cells interact with their surroundings, a concept that links directly to topics like enzymes, digestion, and circulation in later chapters. Next up, we will move into chapter 4, Biological Molecules, where we will uncover the biological molecules like carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and we will talk about DNA in brief. Until next time, keep revising smart, stay curious, and keep exploring the science of life. If you have made it till here and found this lesson really helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next chapter in our Examify IGCSE Biology Revision Series. You can also join our free WhatsApp community for updates and live sessions. Links in the description below. And if you're looking to take your preparation further, check out our Examify mock papers and topical revision packs designed to help you study smart and score higher.